busy. Clean a couple dishes right behind you. Hi. Hi, beautiful. Want some chicken? What would you like for dinner? No, get out of the door. Y'all, so my live got banned for a while, so I have to rebuild my viewers, and that sucks, but I'm just gonna keep on going live and working towards getting views again. I'm just trusting in God. Starting to stir one. It sucks, but it's okay, because I know God is want to have more from you. Stop. So yeah, that it was really hard on me because I honestly wanted to everything to go back to how it used to be, but okay, it's okay. It's gonna be consistent. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, how you guys doing? I am about to make dinner, but I want to clean up just a little bit first. Yeah. How's your guys' evening going? I am literally like, we went to sleep so late today. Like, we had the latest nap. So I know we're going to be up at like 12 a.m. Okay, so, on an easy day, I always just do a sheet pan, whatever they're called. And I do like chicken breast, cauliflower, broccoli, carrots, and some potatoes. And then I'm just gonna do a quick, easy meal like that, like I usually do on a quick day, and call it a night because I'm making dinner very late. I'm up very late. Went to sleep early, so I'm trying to make something for my baby really quick. He's hungry. I'm hungry. So yeah, I'm trying to prepare dinner for us and get everything together. But I have had a problem with not doing the dishes right away, and I would make every excuse and be like, well, I like to do dishes afterwards, or later down the line in the week. And I realized that me not doing my dishes right away caused me to just pile a whole bunch of dishes, and it was just a lot. It got very chaotic. I had to call people to come help me, and it wasn't fun. So now I'm doing what I do, just like in my faith with God. In order for God to add more, to increase me, something has to be removed in the flesh. Oh, thank you. My hair is not messed right now, but thank you. So, in order for me to make more food, I'm gonna have to remove dishes and clean dishes in order to start making more food. And so yeah, that's literally what I've been doing, and I've been doing a good job. I'm thinking I'm just gonna leave one dish that's not clean, and I got rid of about 10 to 12 dishes. So I'm really proud of myself. I've been making progression, and yeah, I did get my live bands, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm back on live again, and I am feeling a little bit upset because I'm used to getting thousands of people on my lives, and this is a real humbling experience for me because I'm back at square one, or root one, whatever you call it, and it's okay. I know God is going to allow myself to get more and more views like I usually do, but I'm so happy to have just one or just two of you guys on here, able to talk to you guys. It's a blessing to talk to you guys, and some of you guys are doing good. I'm gonna get into this food now. I'm done with the dishes. Let's get to this food. You have to get your please, love. I got a baby that I have to put in here. I'm gonna take these chicken breasts out. So we got some chicken breasts that we're gonna go ahead and clean. Oh wow, this is still kind of frozen. Wait a second. Hold the phone. Wait a second. Go ahead and we're gonna put this chicken in this pot. I'm gonna have to get up real early in the morning and go on live even though I don't want to. Go. Get out the kitchen. Hey, let me get you a snack, love bug. Hi, love bug. Let me get you a snacky. We're doing some chicken breast, potatoes, and cauliflower, carrots, and broccoli. I'm just prepping the chicken right now. We're cleaning that chicken really nice and good right now. And I'm meal prepping for the week, so we're going to go ahead and just cook all the chicken breasts we have. Okay, so I have vinegar right here. I'm going to go ahead and pour some white vinegar just to clean my chicken. My chicken is a little bit frozen still, which is very much concerning. But I'm just in a state where I'm like, let's try it. Let's try and see. Not the white vinegar burning me. Am I dirty? Anyway. But yeah, I don't know. I never cooked frozen chicken before. But I'm like so tired and hungry that we're just gonna give it a shot today and see how it comes out. Yeah, it's still hard a little bit. It's the hard chicken for me. But yeah, I'm gonna set my camera up so you guys can watch me do my process. I'm gonna have to put it over here too. Good. Hey, baby. Get some. Hey, how's everybody's night? Well, I love chicken too. How's everybody's night? How's everyone doing? God bless you guys all. Have you guys ate dinner yet? Have you guys already got ready for bed? Who's up right now? Because I know a lot of my supporters are from India, the United States. So where are you guys located? United States, India? When did you start doing YouTube, actually? Sparks. Ladies chicken out. Ladies chicken out. You know what? Let me just do 3 first. I'm going to do one at a time real quick just because. The United States. I live in the United States. Where are you from? Where are you guys from? You know what I want to try doing with chicken breast? Make some chicken tenders, some crispy chicken tenders. Ooh, I have not tried that yet, but that sounds so good. And then homemade honey mustard. Ooh. Oh, okay. Is it hot out there? Because I know in Nevada it's very hot. Or is it just Las Vegas that's hot? Or is the whole Nevada hot? Or is Las Vegas? Stop it, baby. You scared me. Is Las Vegas a city in Nevada? And Nevada's like a state? Ooh. Baby, please don't do that. You didn't scare mommy. I didn't thought something happened to you. You can't do that to me. Good. 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 Let me go ahead and preheat this oven. God bless you, baby. May God bless you and keep you. Yeah, are you tired? I'm making dinner right now. Uh-oh, I done messed up. Hi, love bug. Yo, I don't know what I'm doing with this knife. Don't judge me. Let me stop saying that, but for real, like, when it comes to cutting, I really have to watch some courses online because I don't know how to cut. I'm literally just like, I know how to cook to survive and the food comes out really good. But when it comes to like technique, oh baby, I don't got no technique. I just improvise and it comes out good. For some reason. It comes out good. Very much so. I have 3 more pieces of chicken to cut. I should put the pieces that are done in a bowl. Excuse me, did Mama tell you to get out the kitchen? Let's get out the kitchen, please, while I'm cutting raw chicken and there's a hot oven going on. Thank you so much. Let's please exit the kitchen. Let me go ahead and get you a snack so we can have something to snack on while Mama's making dinner and I can finish dinner because I have to cook dinner for us. Yeah, I have to cook dinner for us and prep, meal prep. He's like, girl, this is my world. I'm doing what I want to do. You ain't gonna stop me. Y'all, my baby is a little character. And he's only 13 months, which is scary. It's not gonna get any better. He's gonna just grow to be even more independent, start demanding me. He's already demanding me. He's like, girl. Not playing. Even though he doesn't speak, that well yet, he is speaking. And girl, this baby don't play. He's gonna get his way. And that's just that. Here you go. But yeah, I'm playing though. Most of the time he does, but when it's time for bed or when it's really a scenario where I have to discipline, like it's of course age appropriate and I do what I'm supposed to do as a mother because children are very smart, y'all, even at a young age. And I realized that because I didn't realize my baby was playing me. I really even now, y'all seen, I jumped real quick because I thought something happened to my baby. And he's just making noise, just being a baby. And he gets me so easy, I'll think like he's hurting or something's going on. And he'll look at me and start laughing after, crying. So my mom just told me one day, she's like, that baby is playing you. I'm like, Mom, no, he's not. He's just in pain. No, y'all, my baby be playing me. He knows what cry to do and how to do it just to get me. And I fall for it every time. What snacks did you get him? I usually make homemade snacks for him because I'm all for natural, organic products, foods, and everything. But when I do have days, we were really sick, so I just bought some organic products at home. At home at the grocery store that I know don't have any added sodium or added sugars. So that was a teething cracker, and I forgot what flavor, not flavor, but what vegetable. I know it has beet in it, and I think strawberry in that one. But yeah, for sure that is a great little teething cracker, and it's organic, no sodium, no sugar, added sugar, just the natural sugars from the vegetables, which I'm fine with, and the fruits. Yeah, and I'm cutting so many pieces of chicken because I'm just going to meal prep this and just eat this throughout the next couple of days with my baby for breakfast. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but I'm just going to have to do. I'm thinking like some eggs, avocado, and something that's low on carbs because I am trying to stick on a low carb diet so I can lose the weight that I want to lose to get back in shape and just be more intentional about what I consume, like I used to before I was pregnant and had the baby. And I just want to be as healthy and fit and in shape as possible, which includes me working out again and everything, so I can just be fit and healthy and also just be able to feel good about myself. It feels good to be in shape and fit. You have more energy. You're not tired. It's just, there's a lot that comes with being in shape. And I'm very open about that because it's the honest truth of the benefits. The only, what's the only? Ooh. Get your hands off this oven, please. Go ahead and get your other cracker, baby. Oh, sorry. Get your other cracker, little bud. Here. Come in there and sit down. Go get your cracker and go sit in there, please. Thank you. What is the only? Hey y'all, I just got my live back today. I was banned for about a month straight, and I'm used to getting thousands of people's on my live stream, so this has been such a humbling experience for me. I was dang, what was I gonna say, you guys? I was banned probably 5 times or for like the span of back to back last year when I first started, and it was so upsetting because I would go live and my brother would join and he'll put his face in there when I wasn't there, and they'll think he was on live by himself, and which goes against like the guidelines and the restrictions. So yeah, I'm like back at square one or root one, whatever you call it. But it's okay, you know. I know that everything is gonna go according to God's purpose, His plan for me, and we're gonna get back up and running. And I'm super appreciative for everyone who is in my live right now. And yeah, I'm gonna try to go live early in the morning. I am probably gonna go live again in about an hour so I can listen in to this podcast. We're going to be talking about growing up in the season of loneliness. And that is something that is very heartfelt to me because I have had a lot of seasons of loneliness. And I felt very uncomfortable in this season. And I felt very left out because society points out a picture like you're not supposed to be alone. You have to have this type of a lifestyle in order to fit the standard, meet the standard. So, with God, like he just is like, it's okay to be lonely. Sometimes God will purposely get us by ourselves so that we can receive and hear him the most, because sometimes our desires are so like above him that we can't even hear his voice clearly. We can't follow the instruction that he wrote out for us because we're so into what we want to do and we don't care about what he has for us. So I just see it as that. But we're going to get more into the season of loneliness and what it really means to be lonely and how God can really speak to you in the season of loneliness and what it means to be lonely. So I'm really excited for that, and that will be coming up very soon. I would have started the podcast right now, but I don't like the title of this video because it's making dinner. Now I could start it right now and just switch the title later on. I'll try to do that. But if not, I'll just listen to part 2 later on when I hop back on live, because I want to get on live for a while with you guys. Yeah, I'm 20 years old. How old are you? Oh, wow, you're older. Oh, is you a woman? Hey. Hey. He said, hey, hey, hey. Yeah, I have braces. Do you have any kids? No kids. Are you married? You got a husband? Ooh. Do you mind me asking how come you're not married, or did you, like, have you ever found the one? Are you a Christian? Have you ever felt like you found the one, or you know, it just you never found your person yet? Excuse me, can you get out of here, please? Where's your cracker? Ain't no way you ate the cracker that fast, baby. Come on and head this way, please. Mama needs to season the chicken, okay? Let me go ahead and season this chicken. Okay. No. So you never found the one for you. You know, we're going to go ahead and start this. Excuse me. Y'all didn't see that. I didn't cough on the chicken. Y'all did not see that, okay? Anyways. Y'all did not see that, okay? I reacted a little bit late, but it's okay. We're just going to go ahead and start this, y'all. The Season of Loneliness podcast with Rick, Pastor Rick.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us here on Pastor Rick's Daily Hope. Today we're continuing with the series called Growing in the Seasons of Life. And in these messages, Rick's going to share biblical wisdom that you need to live your best life no matter what stage you're in. Okay, I'm so excited to hear what Rick is going to share with us today with part one of a message called The Season of Loneliness.
Now this week we're going to begin to look at the specifics of individual seasons of life, and we're going to look at the season of loneliness. Now I know some of you are thinking, I don't need this message, Rick. I'm not lonely. In fact, I've got too many people in my life. But I want to tell you this. You're going to need it someday. You're going to need this message someday. Because loneliness is an inevitable season of life. In fact, you will go through it many, many times. So if you're not in one right now, congratulations. But take notes because you're going to need this material at some point. And today you're going to hear a dramatic story of one man's struggle with loneliness and overcoming it. But before we do, I want to point out what causes loneliness. And if you have a Bible, turn to that passage that was just read, 2 Timothy chapter 4. If you don't have a Bible, it's okay. The verses are all on your outline. If you'll just take that out. And we're going to look at this. The Bible says that God made us to need each other. We were made for relationships. In fact, when God put Adam in the Garden of Eden, he had every single thing you could possibly want. There was no stress. There were no problems. And yet in Genesis 2:18, God looked at Adam and said, it's not good for man to be alone. The very first thing that God said is not good about the earth, he said, is loneliness. Loneliness. Now in 2 Timothy chapter 4, we have the last words that the Apostle Paul ever wrote. The last book, the last chapter, the very last words. He's dying in prison in Rome. He's about to be executed by Nero, the Caesar. All of his friends have left him. And he's struggling with loneliness. And in this passage, it illustrates 4 common causes of loneliness. Let's look at them. The first one, if you'll write this down, is transitions. Transitions cause loneliness. Life is a series of transitions. Some books call them the passages of life. In this series, we're calling them the seasons of life. And any major change in your life can bring on a little twinge of loneliness. Why? Because every time you have a change, even if it's a good positive change, you're getting something new, but you're always having to give up something else. And there's a letting go. There's always a loss.
Wait a second. Wait a second. Wait a second. Because what did I just say, y'all? What did I just say? Did I not in the beginning of this live say that in order for you to progress, in order for you to mature, in order for you to enhance in any area of your life, you need to remove something that you already have. Period, point blank. That's it right there. That's it right there. Okay? When I was talking about the dishes, I told y'all, like, I say, you know what, I let my dishes fill up and, you know, I'll come back to at the end of the week. No, I can't do that no more, y'all. It just piled up. It got to a point to where I was so low and sick that the typical, okay, I'm just going to clean all these dishes up at one time. The typical Nazarene couldn't do it because I was so sick and taking care of me and my child. It was too much to handle at one time. So in order for me to do what I'm doing right now, in order for me to cook, I have to clean the dishes that are dirty and get rid of a few, you know, dirty dishes, clean them in order for me to pull out some more new dishes, okay? And that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, baby. Okay, let's get back into this.
And that loss can bring on just a little twinge of loneliness. Any new experience can bring on loneliness. Do you remember your first day at school? You walked onto that little campus as a kindergartner and everything seemed so big. Or do you remember graduation? Or do you remember when you get a new job and you walk in and you don't know anybody there? Or even when you were maybe fired or laid off from a job and the loneliness that you felt from that. Any new experience can cause loneliness. Now in Paul's situation, he's at the end of his life and he says in verse 6, 2 Timothy 4, I've already been poured out like a drink offering and the time has come for my departure. I fought the good fight, I finished the race, and I've kept the faith. Now, he knows his time is short, he knows his days are numbered, he knows the end is near, and these are the words of a dying man, and he's saying, I'm all alone. I'm all alone. Can you sense the loneliness in this passage? Did you know that 70% of all the elderly folks who live in nursing homes never get a single visit? 70%. And that is America's disgrace, that we leave the elderly to die alone. In fact, statistics say that the most lonely people on the planet are elderly, sick men. And that's exactly who Paul was. The point is that any major life change can cause loneliness. Paul's going through the final transition of life, but there are many before that that will bring on loneliness. Number 2, separations cause loneliness. Not just transitions, but separations. When we're isolated from those we love. It may be by a job, it may be by travel, it may be by some illness. But when we're separated from those we love, it causes loneliness. And Paul in this passage writes to Timothy, and twice he says, why don't you come see me? Why don't you come to see me? In verse 9 he says, do your best to come to me quickly. And in verse 21, he says, do your best to get here before winter. And then in this passage of Scripture, he lists 7 friends that he misses. He says, Demas has deserted me, Crescens has gone to Galatia, Titus has gone to Dalmatia. He says, Erastus stayed in Corinth, and I left Trophimus and Miletus. How'd you like to read these names? How'd you like to be named one of these guys? Who are these guys? They are the traveling companions of Paul. You see, Paul was a people person, and he never went anywhere by himself. Anywhere he traveled, he always took people with him because he loved being around people. And now he's at the end of his life. He's in prison in a foreign country, and nobody's there. None of his friends are there, and he misses them all. And he's in a foreign country. You know, in 1974, I got lost in downtown Tokyo at night. Now, Tokyo is a city of nearly 25 million people. It's enormous. And I wasn't in a car, I was walking. Can you feel lonely in a crowd? Oh, you better believe you can. And I had no idea where I was, and I was lost in a sea of humanity was all around me. And I felt so lonely. Now, I have to tell you the ending that I did walk up over a hill, and all of a sudden I saw in the distance some golden arches. And I rushed over there, and I fed my loneliness with a Big Mac. And as you can tell, I've been lonely many times in life. But, that's the place for food, folks, and fun. But if you've ever been alone in a crowd, you know that it's often lonelier with people around you than it is without. If you've ever eaten by yourself in a restaurant while everybody else is eating 2, 3, or 4, you know how. Now, this is a real rampant epidemic in our society today. 26% of all Americans move every year. And this sense of uprootedness has created an epidemic of loneliness. You see, we pride ourselves on being independent as Americans. I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to have my own way. I'm going to be my own God. I am independent. That's an American tradition. But the price of independence, I don't depend on anybody else. The price is loneliness. And it's rampant in our society because we're separated many times from those we love for many, many different reasons. Now, there's a third cause. By the way, before we go on to that, notice he says, do your best to come quickly. Why is he saying that? He's saying, I may not be around much longer. Let me just throw this one in. Who is it in your life that you need to make a phone call to, or you need to write a letter to, or you need to do something nice for, because you may not have them much longer? No one is guaranteed that their loved one is going to be here next week, much less next month or next year. Do your good while you can do it. We talked about this last week. And some of you need to go home and pick up the phone and give a loving call to somebody who may not be around a whole lot longer. Do it while you can. The third cause of loneliness, and we see it in this passage, is opposition. Transitions, major changes, separations, apart from other folks.
Yeah, I'm about to call my grandma today.
When you're under attack by others, you fall prey to loneliness. Now, in this passage, there was a guy named Alexander, and in verse 14 it says, Alexander the metal worker did me a great deal of harm. The Lord will repay him for what he has done, and you should be on your guard against him because he strongly opposed our message. Now, it didn't tell us what this guy did to Paul, but evidently he was resistant, and he was opposing Paul, and he was attacking Paul. Maybe he was slandering him. Maybe he was talking behind his back. Maybe he was attacking him in some way, turning people against him. But you know, the loneliness of being opposed by other people is painful. You remember back on the playground as a child, how the kids would often gang up on the weakest kid on the playground. And they would say incredibly mean things, incredibly hurtful things, and they'd all gang up. And that person, I'm sure, must have felt very alone. Some of you were that person. And they say sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt. That's just not true. In fact, names hurt far more than sticks and stones.
Yeah.
A broken bone will heal, but a broken emotion often takes years and years to heal.
Yeah.
And some of you remember the loneliness of being the last one chosen for the team.
Yep.
Or you weren't chosen at all.
Yep.
Or you were made fun of as a child because of the way you looked. Too skinny or too fat, or the color of your hair, or the kind of clothes you wore. You were too rich, or you didn't have enough money, or all these things. And you still remember the loneliness of opposition when kids or people gang up with you and you're on the outside and they're on the inside. And growing up, you knew I didn't stand a chance of ever being in that in crowd. And you felt lonely. You see, being alone is painful enough. But when it really hurts is when you're going through a major pain and nobody else understands what you're going through. Or when you are experiencing a grief in life while everybody else is laughing and having fun. Or when you're misunderstood, or when you're criticized, or when you're embarrassed in front of a large group and you felt very alone and very isolated and very different and very lonely. You see, it's opposition. It's the third cause, just as in Paul's example here. And the temptation, whenever we're opposed or criticized, is to just build up walls. We pull ourselves into a shell and we say, I'm never going to allow anybody to hurt me again. I'm not going to let anybody get close to me. Nobody's going to get close to me anymore. And we only make ourselves lonelier when we do that. Just make ourselves lonelier. Then the fourth cause of loneliness, and this is the greatest one of all, by far the most painful, is rejection. Transition, separation, opposition, But rejection is the greatest of all. When you feel like you've been betrayed, when you feel like you've been forsaken, when you feel like you've been abandoned by people you thought you could count on. Maybe it was friends. Maybe it was family members. Maybe you've been betrayed by a spouse. Maybe you've been betrayed by a business that you thought, man, I'm giving my life to this and I'm set. I'm set here. And all of a sudden you're given the pink slip and you're out the door. Now, if the truth were known, in this audience here today, in this large crowd behind all of our faces, a number of you are dealing with this pain right now. The pain of rejection, the pain of betrayal. And people you thought were going to be loyal to you were not. In fact, they were disloyal. And people you thought you could count on let you down. And maybe you've had somebody walk out in your life, a friend, or even worse, a spouse. And you feel that pain of rejection. And I want to say to you, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry that you feel that pain. But God feels it too. And He sees it. And He cares about the heartache in your heart. He cares about how you feel. It matters to Him. You see, you were designed by God with a deep emotional need to be accepted. We all do. We all have a need to be accepted by other people. And when you don't get that, it causes enormous pain in your life. That's why the most devastating thing you can do to a person is to reject them. Rejection is the worst thing you can do to a person. That's why the Bible says that God hates divorce. It says that God hates divorce in Malachi. The Bible says that God hates adultery. Why? Because they are both forms of rejection. And He knows the devastation that it does to people.
Yeah.
If you don't learn to deal with the pain of loneliness, regardless of the cause, you will tend to deal with it in self-defeating ways. Loneliness is so painful, we will often try anything to get rid of it. Often very self-defeating actions. Some people, when they're lonely, try workaholism. And we say, I know what I'll do. I'll just throw myself into my job. And I'll get so busy, I don't have time to think about my loneliness. And so we frantically run through life. And we set the alarm early in the morning and we hit the ground running and we work ourselves to death all day until late at night until we can throw ourselves in bed so tired that we'll fall asleep so we don't have to think about the lingering pain in our
Dang.
And we
That
wake
is
up
so
the next morning,
true.
hit the ground running again and do the same thing over thinking, if I can just stay busy, I can stay one step ahead
Woo!
of the nagging heartache in my heart.
Dang. That's it right there, y'all. That's it. And I'm trying so hard not to get emotional, but that is so true. Like, have you guys ever been in a season of loneliness and you just didn't want to face those emotions, those problems? So you try to get yourself so busy, so worked up and into whatever you're doing that and just distracting yourself so that you don't have to identify those issues to heal. And I've been there. Like, I'm literally going through that. And it's crazy because when I took a moment to sit back, give myself time to just allow myself to think and process things, or at least try to attempt to process, I seen that I'm hurting. And I was like, wait a second, I'm really hurting. And I never gave myself time to really process things, to heal, to get the emotions out. I'm just trying to ignore my problems. And it just was not working. So when he said that, like that's very deep because sometimes there's rooted trauma in yourself that you are in denial about, and it causes you to have issues in your new relationships, or it causes you to be lonely, and you feel like you can never get to a point in these new relationships where you can trust them because you have rooted trauma that you have not identified and not healed from. So dang, that's just like, I'm talking to myself. That is just deep.
Doesn't work. workaholism. Some people try materialism. They say, I know what I'll do to relieve my loneliness. I'll fill my life with things. I will purchase happiness. I will buy peace of mind. And if I can just get a certain number of things around me, then that'll compensate for this ache of loneliness in my heart. And if I can just buy the right kind of clothes, and if I can just get the right kind of car, well, then everybody will think I'm really cool, and it will compensate for how bad I really feel about myself. But you can't buy lasting happiness.
Nope.
Materialism doesn't work.
Nope.
Some people try alcoholism or prescription drugs. And they say, I'll try anything, the choice drug of the day, just in order to compensate and to dull my pain. And they go from one thing, and if I can't find relief, well, I'll snort it, or I'll smoke it, or I'll pop it, or I'll drink it. And maybe then, I won't feel so bad. Some people try sexual escape to compensate for loneliness. And their life becomes a series of one-night stands and bar hopping. And it really doesn't matter who the body is as long as there's somebody next to me in bed tonight. Maybe that will take care of the ache that I feel in my heart. But the next morning, it's there again. And others escape into a world of fantasy, and they try pornography, and they dream of a relationship that they're dying to have, but it just isn't there. And it doesn't satisfy.
Yeah.
Most people fall into depression. And they say, I don't feel good, I feel bad, and they get into a spiral that takes them lower and lower and lower and lower. And they build walls, and they build a shell, and they build buffers around themselves that no one can get close to them. And they live in a perpetual state of depression. You know, even Christians often fall prey to self-defeating actions in order to relieve the agony of loneliness. What do you do when you go through a season of loneliness? There are 4 things you need to do. We see all 4 of these illustrated in the life of Paul, just as we saw these 4 difficulties or 4 causes. In Paul's life, in 2 Timothy 4, he gives us the antidote to the paralyzing pain of loneliness. And he says you need to utilize, you need to minimize, you need to recognize, and you need to emphasize. Number 1, when you go through a season of loneliness, I need to utilize my time. Utilize my time. That means make the best of a bad situation. Resist the temptation to do nothing. Take some action, any kind of action. Like they say, if life gives you a lemon, you make lemonade. And you try to think of creative ways to take advantage of the times, the seasons that you are alone. Notice what Paul says in verse 13. In verse 13 he says, bring my books and bring my coat. When you come, bring the cloak I left in Tarsus and bring my books, especially the parchment. Now what's he saying here? He's saying, well, if I'm going to be alone, I may as well be comfortable and productive. And those are 2 things you ought to do in the phase of loneliness. Be comfortable and productive. He says, bring my coat and bring my books. Now you don't see Paul throwing a pity party. You don't see him complaining. You don't see him giving up because he's here in his last days and all of his friends are gone. And he's lonely, and he can't just pick up a phone and reach out and touch somebody. They're hundreds of miles away, and he's in a foreign country. And he doesn't say, hey, is this the reward I get for 30 years of ministry? This is Paul, the greatest Christian who ever lived next to Jesus himself. He won hundreds of thousands of people to Christ, and his final days, he's all alone. What's he do? He says, well, I'll just make the best of the situation. I'll utilize my time. And he says 2 things. Notice, he says, bring my coat. In other words, at least I'll be warm and dry. Those Roman prisons were damp, they were dark, and they were cold. And he says, you know, I'm just going to do the best I can to take care of myself. It is true of human nature that when we are lonely and when we are depressed, we don't take very good care of ourselves, physically or any other way. And we tend to let exercise slide. We tend to let we don't rest well. We don't eat right when we're lonely. You know, we say, oh, I don't want to cook for just one person. It's fast food for day 17. Bring on the McNuggets.
Yeah.
Paul says, I'm going to do the best I can to take care of myself. And some of you need to hear that today. You're not taking very good care of yourself because you're depressed and you're lonely, and you need to do that. And then he says, bring the books. He says, you know, I'll at least utilize the time to study. I'll capitalize on a lack of interruptions. And you got to understand something about this guy. Paul was a people person. He loved being around people. He hated being alone. It wasn't the way God wired him up. And so being in a solitary confinement in a Roman prison, dark, damp, and by himself, was the antithesis of where he'd rather be in life. And then he says, you know what? I'll make the rest the best I can. Bring my books. I can do some studies. I got an idea. I'll write some letters. Aren't you glad Paul wrote some letters?
Yep.
Because today they're compiled in a book and we call it the New Testament. 2,000 years later, we are still benefiting from Paul's loneliness. Right here. If he hadn't been in prison, do you think he would have taken the time? No. He's an activist. And the only way God could slow him down was to put him in solitary confinement. And he thought, well, I'll just write some letters. And today we benefit from his loneliness. Is anybody going to benefit from your loneliness? Would you write this sentence down? Ask yourself this question. What can I do now when I'm lonely? What can I do now that would be difficult to do with others around? What can I do now that would be difficult to do with others around?
Yeah.
You see what Paul is saying? If I can't be where the action is, I'd love to be out there preaching in Rome. I will create some action right here in my own cell. And you need to do that too when you're lonely. If I can't be where the action is, I will at least create some action where I am doing what I'm doing. And I'll utilize the time for good and not just waste it. Utilize my time. Number 2, minimize my hurt. That's the second thing you do when you go through a season of loneliness. I need to minimize my hurt. I need to play it down, de-emphasize it. I say play it down and pray it up. Don't rehearse it over and over in your mind. Because if you do that, it just gets bigger and bigger. Oh, I'm so lonely, I'm so lonely, oh, I'm so lonely. It just gets out of control. Refuse to become resentful, because bitterness will eat you up. So you minimize the hurt, you play it down. You say, well, it's no big deal. Look at Paul's attitude, verse 16. He says, everybody has deserted me. He went on trial before Nero. Nobody came to his defense. He said, may it not be held against them. Do you understand this? Here is Paul, the greatest Christian, as I said, next to Jesus. And when he goes on trial in Rome, not one person stepped forward to defend him. Not one. He is absolutely by himself. Nobody stepped forward and said, hey, this guy's a good guy. He's all right. And yet his whole attitude was not, oh, those jerks. After all I've done for them all these years. Instead, it was, may it not be held against them. I'm not going to let myself become bitter, because bitterness makes loneliness worse. In fact, bitterness and loneliness go together because they become a cycle. You become lonely, and then you start feeling bad about it and having a pity party, and then you get bitter. Your bitterness makes you even more lonely, which makes you more bitter, which makes you more lonely, which makes you more bitter, which makes you more lonely, which makes you more bitter, and pretty soon you're just a hard-hearted, depressed person that nobody can get close to. Nobody wants to be around a bitter person. Nobody wants to be around a cynic. Nobody wants to be around a person who's angry at everybody else. And so your bitterness only perpetuates your loneliness. That's why when you go through a season of life, you have to minimize the hurt. Utilize the time, minimize the hurt. Don't build a wall around your life.
Wow. Thank you, Rick, for that amazing message. And you know, people are being transformed by these messages every day, but that's only because of your partnership with us. In fact, here's Rick to share some important news with you.
Jesus told his disciples that they should live their lives according to 5 specific purposes. He said, you've got to love God with all your heart, that's worship, and love your neighbor as yourself, that's ministry. That's called the Great Commandment. And then Jesus said, go make disciples, that's evangelism, baptize them into the family of God, that's fellowship, sign of fellowship. And then he said, teach them to obey everything I taught you, that's discipleship. And we call that the Great Commission. We believe at Daily Hope that a great commitment to the Great Commandment and the Great Commission will produce a great Christian, a great church, a great company, a great community. You know, I started Daily Hope so I could spread the good news about Jesus, not just across America, but all around the world. And we want people to know that God's Word is filled with hope and truth. And the power that we need to follow Him every day is available to every single one. You know as well as I do that the Word of God changes lives. It's alive, it's active, it breathes new life and new love into all of our lives. So wherever you listen to this, whether you listen on the website, whether you listen on a radio station, or whether you listen to a podcast, you're a part of the Daily Hope family. And I need your help. We could not do this without your support. Now, you know I don't take any funds from this broadcast. We don't have any giant $1 million donor who's giving big gifts to this. It comes from daily donations from listeners like you. We're 100% listener funded. Would you continue to pray for this broadcast? And would you continue to support us? And write to me. Let me hear from you. I absolutely love reading the stories that are sent to me. So write me, pray for me, and support this ministry. And God will bless it, and God will bless you, and we'll get to heaven, and we'll thank God for all the people going to be in heaven because you cared.
Would you like to help support Pastor Rick in this ministry financially? Well, go to pastorrick.com or text the word HOPE to 70309. Again, that's pastorrick.com or just text the word HOPE to 70309. And thank you so much for your support. Be sure to join us next time as we look into God's Word for our daily hope. This program is sponsored by Daily Hope Ministries and your generous financial support.
That was so beautiful. That was so beautiful. And that was so real. Like that question, it just makes me tear up and get emotional because I feel like everyone has had a season in their life where they face a season of loneliness, and I had ample opportunity to get some things done in my season of loneliness, and still have that opportunity to do so, but there's so much that I have been through that I tried to run away from and not acknowledge because of how much emotion was behind the things that I faced, and I wasn't ready to deal with those emotions. So yeah, that was just, I can't keep running and trying to distract myself from the fact that I'm hurting and I have to deal with those emotions. And that was just like God speaking to me and letting me know that. So that was very deep, and it's just, I want to do something in this season of loneliness, and I'm going to do so. So that was just like my confirmation, my motivation during this time right now. And I will take advantage of it. Okay, this is the vegetables that I'm going to be placing into the oven right now. Okay, let me wash my hands real quick. Little man, you have to get out this kitchen, baby. You are going to have to get out this kitchen, baby. Mama is going to place some things in the oven, and I don't want you to get burnt, son. My son, my young bug, you're going to have to get out the kitchen so I can place some things in this hot oven. Okay, let's go. Let's go. Hi. Hi. I'm going to put some things in the oven, okay? I'm going to need you to sit here for a second. Don't follow me. Stay there real quick. Stay there. Let me hurry up, y'all. He's running over here. Okay, so that was it for meal prepping dinner. This is going to be dinner for the next couple of nights. I went ahead and did a big serving of potatoes, cauliflower, broccoli, carrots, and also some chicken breasts that were cut into little bite-sized pieces. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this dinner as a 20-year-old mom. I didn't even do that as a title. I should have did that, but I really appreciate you guys for tuning in. Don't mind me, y'all. Like, I want to start being more real with you guys about things that I have faced, and God has been really speaking to me. So I'm gonna just start using this platform to really tell my story and just to be real with you guys. And that's like really hard to do. It's hard to tell your truth to people who don't know you and people you don't know. So yeah, give me some grace, y'all. Giving myself some grace. And yeah, this was a fun little YouTube live. Not little, big YouTube live. I'm super excited I was able to go back live. I was banned for like almost a month straight, so this literally is what I needed to just get back into the hang of things. And okay, so yeah, it's your girl RiRi, and I'll be getting off alive. I hope you guys have a blessed day. May you guys continue to just do great things and have a great night, day, whatever time it is for you guys. Bye.